Let me ask you a question, and we'll wrap this up in a little bit because I know it's getting late and everything. What's your board setup? Okay, maybe not nowadays. I want to know nowadays. Yeah. But when you were doing all this, right, crazy gaps and everything, and really just going for it, did you have to have your board a certain way?
Yeah.
What was your?
I dialed in my shape in the early '90s with Rodney at Prime Woodshop.
Gotcha.
I went there with him. We would make shapes, and he would always trip out because he liked narrower, smaller boards with a shorter wheelbase and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was showing me how to make those shapes work. So my first shape I made with him was like a 7.5. And pretty much, the standard like 1993-ish looking board. Yeah. Maybe 94. And then from there, I kept pushing it a little wider, a little longer, a little bit fuller nose. And I kept bringing it back. And at the point where I was pushing the envelope for the wheelbase, I liked a longer wheelbase. And he always told me it wouldn't flip the same. It won't work the way it should. Like the geometry's all off. But the way I rode my board, I liked having just more room. I didn't like feeling like I was on a toothpick or like a little like toy board. I wanted to be able to spread out a little bit and have more balance and control.
Have more room to land too.
Mm-hmm. So he was saying I was basically riding like a vert board wheelbase length at the time.
Okay.
But every time I put it, like I'd do it by even like a fraction, like a quarter of an inch, if that.
Oh, really?
Time I'd push it up.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I'd work my way up, and he'd trip out every time. Like, no, it won't work. And then I'd test it out, and he's like, it works.
Damn. Yeah. Proving Roddy Moore.
And I was loving it.
Geometry and all.
So you're talking about a 7.75. I mean, I'm sorry, a 7.5.
Right. I started pushing it back up, and one of the biggest boards I made was on Plan B. I think it was an 8. It wasn't an 8.25, I don't think. I'd have to measure it out now, but it was over 8 inches.
Okay.
And it was kind of unheard of at the time to go over 8 inches.
Yep.
And I even put on the top graphic that this board was nice and wide and fun to ride. And it's for the big boys. And I said, enjoy.
I love it.
Yeah, it's handwritten on the top graphic that it's nice and wide and fun to ride.
And would you do like tight trucks?
No.
Medium.
I think early on, you would do tight trucks when you're learning stuff.
Yeah.
But I like loosening them up a little bit. Now, I'm not going loose like where they would jiggle.
Yeah.
Like loose these days is when you move your board and the wheels jiggle.
Day one loose.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, he didn't even have bushings.
That's too much, yeah.
He had it with no bushings whatsoever.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have bushing problems.
I can't even understand.
He doesn't have bushing problems.
That's a whole different loose.
But even going through,
I wasn't going tight. Like I would never be like where I'd have to tic tac to get around. No, I can carve.
You can carve.
But medium, right?
If you're getting wheel bite on stuff, like if you're going down something big and you're getting wheel bite really bad, you can crank it up a little bit and it'll tighten it up and it won't hit as much.
Well, you also landed perfect.
Well, you try to land light.
Yeah.
A lot of people would land like they're landing on the ground, and that's when you break your board.
Right.
You gotta try to land like that much off the ground. Land on your board, not the ground. Aim for the top of your board and land on that.
I mean,
pushing through to the ground.
Back then, we're talking what, 50 millimeter wheels, maybe even a little smaller.
Depends how far back we're going.
Well, I don't know. 7.5 board.
We went all the way down in the 90s to 38, I think was the lowest. 38, 39.
Riding on bearings.
Yeah. Bearing covers.
Mariano guys' wheels, the Mariano Mobsters, those were 38.5.
38.5.
I remember these
so weird.
These real small wheels. You would get,
and those were 54 or something.
Real small wheels were 54.
Yeah, when they first came out, they were considered small, but they were huge.
That's right.
And they came in a 6-pack.
They came in a 6-pack, so you could just
because people were riding like 65s back then, and then those came out that small, and they gave them 6 of them.
Okay.
So you'd buy 2 sets of those of 6, and then you get 3 sets of wheels.
Man, I'm tripping. I feel like I have my dates.
They were tiny when they came out,
Yeah.
but they were still huge. By what followed.
Wow.
Yeah, because
they tried to make a spin on that. That didn't really work, but yeah.
Have you tried the little wheels lately?
I don't. I have. I don't.
I got a set, and they're awesome.
See, I can't do
They're
it.
awesome.
Though. I can't.
Wait, what size are we talking?
If you go back to like the 40 millimeter wheels and you try to set them up, your trucks look completely different. Your weight, everything skates, flips different. Like you don't roll as fast, but if you have good bearings, you can get through it. That was the only thing. I always had good bearings. Even when the wheels were tiny, I had good bearings.
I mean, you put those things on, you're being teleported back to the 90s.
Oh yeah,
easy.
For sure.
It makes you skate different for sure.
Yeah,
and
I
it's awesome.
No,
It's a rad feeling. You're
I
home
can't
now.
go. I can't go below 50s. 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel you on that. I
Crazy.
cannot
Right.
definitely go below.
I did
50.
49 for a little while. That was like kind of.
Yeah.
Well, my wheels now are probably 49s. After
yeah.
riding them.
Right.
Well, then, have you ever tried throwing on the big wheels, like some T-bones from back in the days?
My whole career, I never went over like 52.
My comfort zone was 53.
53s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like Blockhead days, they made the G-spot wheels. They were 53. They felt great.
Gotcha.
It went down, smaller, but bigger. And when it came back around, I still like 53.
53.
I rocked 52s for a while just because I was doing more manual and flip tricks. And everyone else was riding 52s, just made the board flip easier.
Right.
But if you want speed, the highest I'd go now is like 54s because I'd be, trying to skate street with them. Now, if you're on a ramp or pools or something like that, 56 is good.
Did you ever have any madness with your board? Like you need your grip tape a certain way or bolt colors or different little things like you needed a certain little...
Top stain.
stains, anything? Like did you have any weird...
The one thing I used to always do was I'd do a line at the back of my board right before the back truck bolts.
Yep.
I'd give it like maybe an inch so it wouldn't like spin when I put the board on.
Yep.
But I'd do a really thin line so I knew front and back because that's back when it was in the football shape era.
Right.
And I did that every time until we got on tour and I was breaking boards and I had to set one up quick and get back in there. So then I just started doing full sheet and I never went back to it. And when switch skating came in and you're doing like switch kick flips and switch heel flips, that little line wasn't very practical anymore because it would catch your foot, especially if you had like vulcanized shoes. It catches that little like ridge in the grip and it's over. So it's like, I just need regular grip from here on out.
Straight up.
I've been regular since then. Like,
I love it.
I don't mess with it.
Yeah. If it ain't
And then
broke.
other than that, no, I never had any of the madness. What I was doing for a while, because I saw someone else do it and I thought it was cool, I had all my wheel graphics. If a wheel's only printed on one side, rather than having them all face out or face in, I had them all facing one direction. I had them facing like my goofy footed side.
Interesting.
Because if they were symmetrical wheels and they're only screened on one side, I'd have them all facing my goofy footed side. So that way, if I get a photo, it's all four graphics. And there was someone randomly in a magazine skating Spitfire wheels that I knew only had a graphic on one side, and they were all facing one way. I was like, oh, that's cool. I never thought of that. And since then, I started doing it. And then I recently stopped doing that because some of the wheels weren't symmetrical anymore. So now I just face them all out.
Face them all out. Oh, you face the graphic out.
Now I face all the graphics out,
Okay.
which is normal. You just put them facing outside.
I like them facing in.
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh, you put the graphic in the
I like the
inside
white
and
wheels.
You blank? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put my right front reel out. So there's only one graphic out.
Really?
Nice.
I
Why
like
do you do that?
It's just one thing. We all
That's a
have
good
our
one.
little quirks.
I
I like that
so.
one though. That's some
Right
style
wheel.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
You put
That
it
is-
out.
Yeah.
dope.
Weird.
I
You can't do that.
I didn't think about the way that
That's
Jeremy
good.
did it because that for photo purposes, you get all
Right.
four wheels. Some
Yeah,
graphics.
definitely didn't think about it.
I've
From that
never
angle.
thought of that.
Jeremy's talking about he's getting his money, man. You know?
Yeah, you
He's
get
getting that
incentives,
photo
dude.
incentive.
Shout out.
You know what I'm saying? I got
Shout out.
4 wheels right there. I got stickers on my board. I'm wearing a hat. I love it,
Ever since I saw it, I like the way it looked.
I love it, man.